Whenever you read a good book, somewhere in the world, a door opens to allow in more light. Hi and welcome. I'm Safa, your host for the day. And today we have with us a personal growth architect who keenly helps adults and students to unlock their true potential by polishing their skills as well as remolding their attitudes. He's an instructor on Udemy with students from more than 117 countries. He is also a motivational hypnotist, a presenter, and a producer at the All India Radio. He is a professional speaker. And it doesn't end there. He recently took his maiden step to become an author, and oh boy, his book, The Growth Hacker, today it stands as the first selling book on the Amazon. Without much ado, let me welcome Muneer Amayoor on board. Hi and welcome to you, Muneer.
Thank you, Safa, for the generous introduction.
My pleasure,
Hi.
my pleasure. Muneer, it's all about the growth hacker today and nothing else because we are so much interested to know about the book. Let me directly start from the scratch.
Wow.
When did this idea come up into you as to write a book? When did this idea pop up into you?
Okay, the idea of writing a book was there in my mind for a long time. However, we need some trigger to take action. I got the trigger from my coach, Farouk Sensi, a leadership empowerment coach. One day, he just asked, why can't you write a book just compiling 100 quotes of yours? Then I thought, okay, why not? It's possible. Then I started writing some quotes here and there. Sometimes I noted some quotes in my mobile phone, sometimes on my diary. And the quotes were formulated even during my morning walk. So the first step was that. So after writing around 20, 30 quotes, then I shared the idea of publishing a book compiling these quotes. At that time, some of my friends asked me, Munir, why can't you expand your quotes into one or two paragraphs? Let the people read about the ideas and get them know more. Then I thought, okay, I will write one paragraph or maximum two paragraphs with every quote. I want to write a very short book. That was my idea. Then I started to write one or two paragraphs with every quote. Eventually, it expanded to paragraphs and paragraphs. And finally, it became a book with 99 chapters spreading over 384 pages. And I would say the credit goes to the whole team around me. There were many friends like Valuepreneur Shafiq who always asked me, Munir, where's your book? Why it's not coming out? Come on, Munir, like that. There were people to cheer me up. I give the credit to those people around me for this.
So I can put it in this terms like it's a teamwork. So maybe that's the right term
Yes,
over there,
really.
maybe. Yes. Okay.
Really, really.
Okay. What is the first action that you took when you decided that you really wanted to write a book? As you said, you started jotting down the codes and then you started writing small paragraph. Apart from this, was there any other action that you took as a serious action you took when you decided seriously that you wanted to write this book?
That's a beautiful question. I would say the secret behind writing, completing, publishing, and hitting the number one bestseller is consistency. I was consistent in writing chapters. I ensured no day passed by without a thought on the book. I not wrote on every day after starting. However, on most of the days, I have wrote at least one paragraph. So I kept myself on track, and at the same time, I made accountable myself. That's the secret behind this achievement. In order to make myself accountable, I did one thing. I got the cover page designed from fiverr.com. A designer from Morocco did it for me. You can see The cover is a beautiful one, right?
Wow, beautiful.
You can
It's
see
just
that.
beautiful.
It was done from Morocco. And after getting this cover designed, I did one thing. I got the 3D models of the cover designed. Then I put them on my desktop. Every time I opened my laptop, it reminded me of my mission. My laptop told me, Munir, open Microsoft Word, start typing your book. It's your duty, no time to waste. The laptop reminded me of this. I didn't stop there. I did one more thing. I announced to the world that Munir is writing a book. I took a photograph of that cover, put it on Facebook, and told the world, wait for the book, it's coming. And at that time, the secret is that I didn't have wrote even one chapter when I was announcing to the world that I was going to launch a book. That was the secret. And
Oh, beautiful.
after that, I did one more thing. I conducted a survey, and the survey was like this: please tell me the areas you want to know more about your personal growth, and something like that. And I asked my friends, colleagues, and well wishers to participate in this survey for me. And they gave me some topics. We are interested to know more about this. Like this, I collected what was the need of the people in the niche. So I got that, and after that I started writing. I didn't stop there too. My accountability partner was Shafiq.
Okay.
We called each other many days. We discussed about our books. He too is writing a book now. He's about to publish it. Maybe next month he will be coming up
Wow.
with his book. So we are acting as accountability partners with each other. So to the key to fast action, the key to fast results is to announce it to the world and make yourself accountable. For that, I did one more thing. I thought I'm not following my timelines at times. So I put my book on Amazon and set it for pre order. So I got pre order from India, US, UK, and Japan. So I was forced to make the book available by that date because now I'm committed. They have paid already. So in that circumstance, when I was putting it for pre-order, I had not completed the book. The book was only halfway through. So making myself accountable was the key. That's my thought, Safa.
Just beautiful and very much interesting. Every word of yours, I was so eager to know what's coming up next, what's coming up next. So, commitment out there is the key, I believe. When you do that, when you publish it, when you announce it on Facebook, commitment is that key over there. It's so beautiful and so interesting to know. I just want to know in this
Thank you.
entire journey of publishing it online, announcing it online, was this factor called fear? Did it intrigue you anywhere down the line? Because it's a big commitment, it's a huge commitment you're taking up. So, did fear creep into you at any point of time?
Really, fear was there. I was afraid, but I conquered the fear. Because as far as my educational background is concerned, I have studied in Malayalam medium schools all the time, and so I'm not well versed in English. I know about my limitations. I was a bit afraid about that. Then I thought, why should I be afraid of that? I thought I will write a book first, then I will get a professional editor to edit it for me. So I found out the points where I was weak, and I delegated those tasks. I knew that I cannot do the designing work myself. I just assigned a freelancer to do that for me. So, in this way, I managed my fear somehow. Then, in order to overcome the fear of failure, I always visualized the success of the book. So
Beautiful,
far, may I
beautiful.
reveal a secret to you?
Yes, sure, sure. I'm very much interested to know.
The book was officially launched on December 22nd. On December 23rd, Amazon listed it as number one hot new release. And on the next day, It hit number one bestseller in multiple categories. Today it continues as number one bestseller.
Wow,
So
beautiful.
I'm not talking about that actually. In
Mhm.
fact, before launching the book, I got one more cover designed by my cover designer from Morocco. I asked him, "Yeah, please do one more thing. I need one extra cover for my book, and that cover should have a logo of Amazon number one bestseller." He did that cover
Wow,
for me. I kept it on
fantastic.
my mobile phone. Now it's a reality.
Fantastic,
So,
fantastic. Just because you mentioned about visualization, I also just want to add on, was affirmations also used? Because these are techniques. So did you use
mhm.
any kind of affirmations?
Yeah, really, really. I have used visualizations and affirmations because it was a hectic task. Writing a book of 384 pages is a hectic task. Really, it needs a lot of concentration, work, hard work, a lot of things. And moreover, I'm a full time employee at All India Radio, so finding time was difficult. So I had two ways in my mind. Either I could say, "Oh, I'm very busy. I cannot do anything." I can give that affirmation to me. As a result, I will take no action. If I keep on saying I have no time, I can't do anything, it will happen. Instead, I gave an affirmation to me like, okay, I'm a busy person, I know. Why can't you make that busy situation into your own advantage? I asked myself. Then I gave an affirmation to me that the more creatively busy you are, the faster you can do and the better results you will get. For example, I thought I'm working 6 days a week. That means if a person is free for 7 days, he may be writing 5 chapters in a week, and I have to write those 5 chapters in one day. Compared to that, I have to be productive more. Like that, I gave suggestions to myself, and that helped me to increase my productivity. And there was one day on which I wrote 12 chapters of the book. 12 chapters in one day. I could do this because I changed my perspective. I made myself believe that getting busy is an advantage to write the book. That affirmation has helped me a lot so far.
Unbelievable and so inspiring. I'm sure there are so many, including myself, there are so many of us who wants to be an author, who really wish to be an author as well. It's so much of an inspiration for all of us, all those words, the techniques that you're using, wonderful, just fantastic. Um, in this whole process while you were talking, yes, you're a full-time employer and employer, full-time employee, and many other challenges, but if you want to list it, what was the topmost challenge you faced while you were writing this entire book, throughout the entire journey, until publishing or until becoming the first seller, the best seller? What has been the biggest challenge for you?
The number one challenge was to get my mindset ready to become an author. Because if that mindset is not right, we will leave the process halfway through. It will happen. So I made myself my mind ready by getting an accountability partner. And the second challenge was to write it in English. My limitation was there. So in order to overcome that challenge, I wrote whole chapters myself. Then I outsourced the editing and polishing work to Matsood, an editor. He did that editing and polishing for me. Then the third challenge was to get to the right people. If the book is even if the book is a good one, if it is not read by the target audience, by the target readers, there is no point. A book should not be only the best book, it should also become a best selling book in order to reach to more people and in order to take the message to millions of people. So that was a challenge. In order to overcome that challenge, I created a launch team. This launch team was instrumental in making the launch a beautiful ceremony. So, in order to make the launch team creative, first of all, I made sure that they are interested in the course. Because if there are some people who are not interested in publishing the book or who are not interested in supporting, there is no point in adding them to the launch team. So, I made up a team of supportive friends, supportive colleagues, and all. After that, this launch team was there with me. And on the launching ceremony was conducted on Zoom. That was the next challenge. During this COVID time, it was not possible to conduct the release ceremony in a hotel. So I thought, okay, now let's conduct it online. And we conducted it online through Zoom platform. Then, in order to reach the message to more people, we set the price of the Kindle book at a lower rate for as an introductory offer. And as a result, many people from many countries bought the book, and eventually it hit #1 international Amazon bestseller.
Amazing, amazing. Munir, I'm sure this entire book, especially it's your first book, and there's been so much of hard work and so much of efforts being put into it. I'm sure the entire book is so dear to you. But is there any chapter that's very much special to you and close to you?
Okay. Mm, I would say there is a chapter in which I wrote about a simple trip with my wife. The title of that chapter is Relive in That Moment. It talks about a trip we had to Adinpara Waterfalls. Adinpara Waterfalls is situated in Nilampur in Kerala, India. It was after a few months of our marriage. We went there with my cousin and his wife. So during that time, the moments we spent there, it is still colorful, warm, and emotional in my mind. And whenever I feel bad, whenever I feel sad, I just visualize that picture in my mind, sitting on a rock near that waterfall without caring about the outside world, as if we are one soul. That feeling, that moment, that picture gives me a lot of pleasure, a lot of peace and happiness. So I think that is very emotionally connected to me.
Lovely, lovely. Well, the way you're saying it itself is so beautiful, and we just feel like listening to it all day long. It's so beautiful. Very nice. Okay. Now, with regard again, we're coming back. I want to know for all those, now we all aspire to be authors. So, how can you, or what is that first step you would advise those to be authors? What is that first step that, as to be authors, you should be doing? Should we follow your techniques as such, or is there any from your journey you would have understood what to be done and what not to be done? How modifications or editings can be done throughout the journey? What in like from your journey? So, what is that first step you would advise all those to be authors to them? What would you advise them?
From my experience, I'd say determination is the key to becoming an author. Because I know many people are dreaming to become authors and they start writing too, but sometimes they think that they cannot complete the task and leave halfway. So if you have a determination, if you have an idea, then the best thing is to take a pen and paper. Take a pen and paper and make an outline of what you are going to write. Maybe if you have 10 chapters, make a list of 10 chapters and list down 5 points each that you are planning to include in every chapter. So now you have got an overall idea, a mind map about your book. After that, you may conduct researches. You have millions of online resources available nowadays. After that, just start writing. And one thing you have to remember, the first writing may not be enough. You may have to rewrite it to make it a better version. So, patience, it is needed. And you should be realistic too. You should not expect that your first book will always be the best book. It may happen or may not happen. I'm speaking from my own experience.
Wow. Very
May
true.
I
Those are such true words. Sure, sure. You may
Safa,
continue.
may I share a story of a great failure in inverted commas?
Sure, sure. Please, please.
You know, most of the people considers this book, The Growth Hacker, as my first book. In fact, it is not my first book. I had published a book last year in Malayalam language. The title of the book is Mattathinte Pustakam. That book was sold only 2 copies, and myself bought the 2 copies. From that failure, my second book is an international #1 Amazon bestseller. I learned from the mistakes that I committed in my first book. I would say the first book is a good book. I'm sure it's a good book. The content is good. It's sellable. It's readable. However, the mistake that I made was I didn't seek professional help whenever needed. That means it's in Malayalam, so Malayalam fonts, there will be some corrections. I tried to do the whole thing myself, and as a result, there were issues with its layout, issues with proofreading. So the book had so many mistakes. So I thought bad to share it to the world. So I didn't tell anyone that I have published a book. I didn't tell anyone. So it's still with me. Now I have a plan to take that book again, rework it, and republish because I'm sure about its content. It's readable, and the readers can get transformational sparks from that book. However, the professional helps were not sought for that book. So it should not happen for the upcoming writers. That's what I think.
Wow. My next question was that, in fact, are you planning to work on the book and republish it? And yes, that's already there in the plan. So fantastic. Fantastic. And
Thank you.
you published the first book that was not up to the mark. It was only maybe only 2 copies were sold, and you purchased both the copies. Then that courage to write another book, that gap. May I ask you, what was the gap? Like you published your first book and then the second book. So what was the gap between both the books?
It's more than a year. More than a year, maybe 1.5 years.
Okay.
So in the beginning, after publishing and when I got the first copy in my hand, I really felt sad because I had put a lot of sleepless nights to make that dream a reality. The content was good, the chapters were well written, everything was okay, but the layout, the whole look of the book was not fine. And there were spelling mistakes at some places, and seeing all those things I really felt bad, and I gave up the task of republishing the book. I thought, oh my god, it's the end, I will not publish a book ever in my life. That was the thought. However, sometimes failures act as the best accelerators for success. Later, When Farouk Sensi asked me, why can't you publish a book compiling 100 quotes? I thought, okay, now I will publish a book. I'm taking it as a challenge. I took it as a challenge. And at that time, I made one thing clear in my mind. I will not repeat the mistakes that I have committed. And learnings from failures, wisdom from failures have no replacement.
So nice, so nice. It's so true that we all have to learn from our mistakes and we have to make sure we don't repeat those mistakes. Rather, learn from it and just improvise it. So beautiful and so very well said. Uh, I would love to keep this going, but however, I'm just hitting my last question there. We talked about your maybe procedure, maybe what is the first thing that upcoming authors should do if they have the intention of writing a book? My last question to you is, what is that thought or what are those words you would like to give to those to be authors? What message do you want to give them? Because from this entire speaking, from this entire session of us, we've got a lot of takeaways from you with regard to failures, the challenges, what to do. Maybe just capsule forms. I'm sure it's not even a bit compared to the entire journey that you've had. However, what is that piece of message you would like to give to those upcoming authors?
I would say it in one word: consistency. Be consistent. Don't think that you will write a chapter now and write the next chapter after 2 weeks. Never do that. The earlier you complete the book, the better. After completing, you may rework on that, but the first draft should be completed at the earliest. Don't be just a beginner or a runner. Be a finisher, be a peak performer, and a leader too. For that, complete the main task at the earliest, then invest more time on redesigning, on making it a better version, on making it best of the best. Be consistent and be fast too.
As we rightly say it, as Farooq Sensi rightly says it, be the mat and be the fat, fast action taker and a massive action taker. So true, and there lies success. Muneer, thank you so much for joining in, for giving us your time. I know it's been a very small session, despite the entire, or looking at the entire journey of yours, this has been a very small session. But the takeaways that we have got is immense. Thank you so much for joining with us. And all the very best to you. They say that don't be a writer, be the writing, continue writing, so that it also sparks a light into many of us. So thank you so much for joining with us, and all the very best to you for your future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Safa. It was a very energizing experience for me to talk with you. You are such a wonderful person.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Muneer.